Greetings, resilient minds. I am Dr. Vivian here, your guide on Arise and Shine. Today we're delving into a topic that touches the core of our daily lives: financial resilience, weathering economic storms. Join me for a riveting exploration filled with wisdom, real-life accolades, and strategies to ignite your financial resilience. You're welcome back to the podcast. If you are a member of our community, if you are part of us for the first time, please join our podcast, subscribe to our podcast, so when we create new and interesting content like this, you would be number one to know. So click subscribe to our podcast, and we would be glad to have you on our community. Comment, share the podcast, and let's continue to arise and shine together. So how do we navigate the financial landscape? And you would agree with me, our financial journey, much like the biblical Joseph's, has its sessions of abundance and sessions of scarcity. When we go back to the good book and we listen or we read what happened and transpired in the days of Joseph, and this guy had a revelation of what was going to happen to the financial landscape of Egypt. God showed him there would be seasons of abundance for this specific number of years, and those would be followed by seasons of scarcity. And God gave him wisdom to navigate that financial landscape. And what was the strategy? In seasons of abundance, don't spend all. Don't eat all as though there is no tomorrow, because your seasons of scarcity might just be next door. And that is what Joseph did. And he came up with a formula and said, this percentage of our harvest for this amount of years of abundance, we're going to put it away. Call it savings, call it investment. We're going to put it away. As much as we have this abundance, we're going to put it away, because there will be seasons when we will need it. And that is exactly how he helped the Egyptian economy navigate the financial landscape. So how do we draw wisdom from these biblical truths, ancient truths, in managing our own financial resources today? The strategy doesn't change. And if you have a season of abundance, or you're working today, you're earning money, the basic biblical wisdom that was applied by Joseph still applies. That says, put away some of your earnings, your resources, in savings, in investment, so that when you need them down the line, you would have a more secured, a more solid, financial resilient future. And if you move away from Joseph and you speak to people in our world, in our times, you might say, oh, Joseph lived in biblical times. What about now? One of our community members, Mark, was telling us how he weathered the economic downturn. And what did he do? He cultivated financial resilience. I mean, his journey from financial turbulence to stability would resonate with many of us. His story showcases the power of resilience in navigating economic storms, because he narrates how his business was really having financial challenges, and how he managed to pull from resources that he had saved in the season when his business was flourishing, to be able to navigate those storms. And that will be the same with us, because some days are rainy days, and it is always important to know how do we navigate different seasons in finances, because as long as there are seasons of abundance, there are also what? Seasons of scarcity. And we need to then know, how do we pull resources from seasons of abundance? And the basic principle that was applied by Joseph, applied by your greatest financial advisors globally, is save as much as you can, as early as you can, once you start making money, once you start earning resources. So let's look at more wisdom for financial decision making. So I love the book of Proverbs in chapter 24 and in verse 3. It impacts the value and advice that we can use it all our lives when we make financial decisions. It says, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. You need wisdom, you need knowledge, you need understanding to be able to build your financial resilient life so that you make the right financial decision. So how do you apply wisdom to make sound financial decisions? How do you fortify your economic foundations? And that is why it is important. As soon as, I believe financial education should be taught at all levels of education, from primary. There are programs now that helps kids to understand that whatever money drops into your hands or drops into your account, you don't have to spend all of it. The whole idea of understanding that part of money needs to be spent, part of it needs to be saved, part of it needs to go for emergency savings or emergency account, part of it needs to go for long-term savings so that your future can be more secure. The basic wisdom of, if I had $100, if I earned $10, how do I allocate it? It is fundamental for everyone within our community and beyond to understand that it is important to deal with financial resources with wisdom. So if we look at a critical aspect of financial management, which is actually managing debt. There will be seasons that you have scarcity, and that may push you to go beyond your earnings and maybe get yourself into debt. And like the Bible cautions us against pitfalls of debt in Proverbs 22 verse 7, you would begin to know that there are practical strategies to navigate and conquer debt. How do you foster resilience even in challenging times? And we would all say there are good debts, there are bad debts. Borrowing money to buy things that are maybe you don't need them, nice to have, might be a bad financial decision. But if you are borrowing money to get must have, you are in situations where your financial situation is quite tight, and you need to be able to understand borrowing money to invest in a business or buy a property or things that can actually in the long run improve your financial situations might be a good decision. So you need to be able to understand, how do I manage debt? What kind of debts are good for me? What kind of debts are bad for me? How do I stay away from the kind of debts that will destroy my sustainable financial future? And this becomes very, very important aspect of building a financial resilient lifestyle. So another important thing that is important for us to look at is actually how do you build a strong financial fortress? In stormy seasons of economic uncertainty, having a financial fortress is essential. So it is important for us to begin to look at, how do I build an emergency fund? Because what's an emergency fund? Someone can fall sick. Life happens. The sudden, the unexpected things of life that will come your way at times that you might not be able to reach out to long-term investments or other things. So your emergency fund will help you deal with all kinds of personal business, family emergencies. So making wise investments, when you put away money, savings and all that, how do I get a balanced investment portfolio? As colleagues in the investment world will say it, you don't put all your apples in one basket. You look at different class of assets. You look at different returns on different types of assets. How do I secure a stable financial future? By making those prudent investment, diversified decisions, and having my emergency fund in place, having diversified investments, and all those kind of things that would help me and continue to improve my savings. These practical steps, it will empower you to weather economic challenging seasons that will come to each and every one of us. Because if you look at what the Bible says in Genesis, as long as the heavens and the earth remains, summertime will come, wintertime will come, springtime will come, autumn will come. So seasons of abundance, seasons of scarcity will come to each and every one of us. But how we weather the storms, how we navigate them, depends on how we have put in place our financial management plans. And we go back to the good book and we look at what the good brother Joseph did, and many others that can give us guidance. So finally, as we begin to wind down on this episode, I want to zoom in on cultivating an abundance mindset. This is so critical. There is, some people have a scarcity mindset. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So is he. We need an abundance mindset, a mindset shift that can help us to become more resilient in our financial management. Philippians 4 and in verse 19 tells us, my God will supply all my needs according to what his riches in glory in Jesus Christ. So how do we believe that we are not going to be in a season where we cannot meet our daily needs? How do you cultivate an abundance mindset? It is important for us to build that mindset. The Bible says, don't conform yourself to the standards of this world, be renewed by the transforming of your mind. Believe that you are capable. The power that worked in Jesus, the power that worked in David, the power that worked in Joseph works in you, and you can live in abundance. And when you walk in that confident mindset, abundance mindset, you attract abundance. You begin to attract the people that will help you become all that you are actually created to be. What a journey we've had this morning, talking about resilience in financial management. We've ventured into the heart of financial resilience. We've looked at strategies to work to look at how to weather economic storms. So as we conclude this episode, I want to leave you with a spark that will ignite your financial resilience and empower you to navigate any economic turbulence. So imagine your financial journey as a captivating adventure. Much like the biblical journey of the Israelites through the desert, in times of scarcity, they received what? Manna from heaven. In times of uncertainty, what happened? Their faith led them to abundance. How can we draw inspiration from their journey and trust in abundance during economic challenges? So, let me share with you a quote from Matthew chapter 6 and in verse 34. It says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough troubles of its own. Cultivating financial resilience is not about erasing worry, but about building the strength to face each financial challenge one day at a time. So, as we say goodbye to this episode, remember that financial resilience is not just a destination, it's a continuous journey. So, share with us your financial triumphs, your challenges, your strategies for resilience. Subscribe to the podcast, stay connected, and let's continue to arise and shine together. Until next time, your financial path, may it be paved with wisdom, your resources with abundance, and your journey, the one that thrives, keep shining financially. You, all the empowered souls out there,